The night the storm hit New York, Rachel Collins thought she was going to die. Her contractions came too soon. Her husband, David the millionaire real estate mogul, was away in Chicago. The ambulance couldn't make it through the flooded streets. The maids ran in circles, panicking, calling hospitals that gave the same reply: "No one can reach you tonight." Rachel collapsed on the marble floor, crying in terror. She wasn't just in pain, she was alone. Then, out of the shadows, came Clara. Clara was 70 years old, the janitor nobody really noticed. Her skin was wrinkled, her hair silver, her hands rough from decades of scrubbing floors. Most days, she mopped quietly while the rich walked past her without a word. But that night, when everyone else froze, Clara stepped forward. "Baby's coma now," she said firmly. "Ain't no doctor gonna make it through that storm. But I've delivered children before. Trust me." Rachel's eyes widened. Could she really trust an old janitor with her life? With her baby's life? She had no choice. And so, through screams and tears, Clara became the hands that held Rachel together. She wiped her sweat, whispered prayers, and coached her through every wave of pain. Hours later, when thunder shook the mansion, another cry echoed louder, the fragile, perfect cry of Rachel's newborn son. Rachel sobbed as Clara wrapped the baby in a towel and placed him in her arms. "You saved us," Rachel whispered. Clara only smiled. "Honey, I just did what needed doing." By morning, David Collins burst into the mansion, panicked. He expected the worst. Instead, he found his wife safe, his son healthy, and an old janitor sitting quietly in the corner, almost invisible again. Rachel told him everything. David turned to Clara, his voice low and heavy. You brought my family back to me." Clara tried to stand. "Sir, please, I was only doing my job." "No," David said, his throat tight. "You did far more than a job. You gave me my wife. You gave me my son. There's no price for that." Weeks passed, but Rachel couldn't stop thinking about the woman who had held her hand through the darkest night of her life. Clara became more than a janitor, she became family. One afternoon, David called Clara into his office. "How long have you worked here?" he asked. 14 years, she replied softly. "Before that, I cleaned schools. Always been cleanin', servin'. Pays the bills, but..." She hesitated. "I always dreamed of one thing, my own bakery. A place for pies and sweet tea. But dreams like that don't belong to folks like me." David studied her, then slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a building deed and a check large enough to change her life forever. Clara's hands shook. "Sir, I can't accept this." "You will," David said. "This isn't charity. It's gratitude. You saved my family. Now, let us give you your dream." Tears ran down Clara's face. She had scrubbed floors all her life, and suddenly, someone saw her not as a servant, but as a woman who mattered. Rachel entered the room, holding the baby. "Clara, when our son grows up, we'll tell him who brought him into this world. You'll always be part of his story." Months later, Clara's Sweet Haven Bakery opened on Fifth Avenue. The smell of warm pies filled the street. Customers came not just for the food, but for the story. People wanted to meet the woman who had once been a janitor, but became a hero on a stormy night. Rachel often visited with her baby. Clara carried him proudly round the shop, telling strangers, "This little one came into the world in my hands." And David, the millionaire, would sometimes stand across the street, watching. He knew money could buy buildings and businesses, but not nights like that storm. Not courage like Clara's. She had saved them all, and in return, they had given her the dream she never thought she'd live to see.